Why should I trust you? You're always tricking me into going places I don't wanna. Oh, you said we were going to a place Walt Disney built.
No, Peter, I said supported.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure.
I am the Snow White now.
What would the Joker say to Disney in these moments? He'd say, you get what you effing deserve, because Disney knowingly hired the most insufferable feminist girl boss in the history of cinema to play its most iconic Disney princess.
You want a nice shiny red apple to put in that pie?
No!
Now let's get the latest on the disaster that is Disney's reimagining of Snow White.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
This is not Snow White, but this is the movie that they made. And it's like, oh yeah, she's gonna be a girl boss. She's gonna liberate her kingdom. Well, congratulations, you played yourself. This is what you get when you try to push feminism and bullshit girl boss moves on the people.
There we go. Brian. See you at Disneyland. Bring money.
You know, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it. You didn't direct it. You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White.
Right.
You should shut up and do the job.
Bob Iger is extremely incompetent. He is very stubborn as a CEO. He lies to both the shareholders and the customers, hence why I like to call him Bob Liger. And the lies continue. We know that Bob Iger is continuing to go on the damage control train related to Snow White.
Great. She honestly looks like like a homeless person at a bus stop. This is and looking rough. I mean, clearly, if you pass by somebody looking like this, you're like, dude, can I like part with the grubby dollar bill in my back pocket? Yeah, totally.
So much fun, it should be illegal. Like copyright infringement. Ho ho! See you at the game, Joel! Ho ho!
Well, they could just write a new story. I mean, that's you don't have to take a classic fairy tale that's been loved for generations and destroy it. You can just write a new story about an empowered girl who wants to be a great leader and not call it Snow White.
This thing is an absolute disaster, all right? An absolute disaster. This is an absolute calamity. This is a catastrophe. This is a tragedy, an apocalypse, an accident, a fatality, a debacle. This is a casualty. This is a cataclysm, a crash, a collapse, an upheaval, a meltdown, a misfortune, Armageddon, doomsday.
Although, you know what's interesting, Andrew? It got, I think, 2.1 rating on IMDb, which is less than what the Little Mermaid live action remake made.
Rachel Zegler learned that your star can fall about as fast as it rises. Here is a photo of Rachel Zegler taken today. Okay. Looking like a complete slob. Hungover as hell, wobbling around.
And so hopefully this flops so hard that they finally learn their lesson.
Will they, James?
Well, Andrew, woke is a poison apple and Disney have had a big bite of it. This movie should be called, they should call this movie Snow Woke and the Seven Pronouns. It's so bad, if you were to watch this movie on an aeroplane, Andrew, you'd walk out.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go put on my Donald Duck costume. Ready?
Welcome to Tea Time with Tina. Let's start by tipping our hats to Family Guy for doing what mainstream outlets rarely dare. Calling out Disney, the House of Rats. Oops, my bad. I mean House of Mouse. And they called Disney out with zero sugarcoating. In one recent episode, they managed to roast the House of Mouse's misguided rebranding in mere seconds. The moment Peter Griffin stands wide-eyed in a shabby version of Disneyland while, in the background, a roller coaster labeled Disney stock careens off the rails, flame trails, and all. Talk about hitting the nail on the head. If that weren't enough, they even had Peter meander past broken animatronic princesses and flickering neon signs that read WokeLand. Driving home that Disney's push to appear inclusive often comes across as forced and out of touch. Sure, Family Guy has always taken cheap shots at popular culture, but this felt more like a targeted strike. an unfiltered commentary on how Disney's desperate attempts to please everyone end up pleasing no one.
Oh, that girl's hot.
That's a guy.
That other guy's handsome.
That's a girl.
That cat is cute.
That's a dog.
What is everything?
Meanwhile, rumor has it that Disney executives are losing sleep trying to spin the meltdown into something positive. Family Guy's savage depiction makes it painfully clear that the public sees through the sanitized corporate speeches. Even folks who don't follow entertainment politics got a laugh, and maybe a headshake out of the spectacle. And from there, the internet was off to the races, dissecting every frame. If anything, Family Guy just poured gasoline on a flame Disney has been trying to stamp out for months. And guess who's caught in the hottest part of that inferno? Rachel Zegler, a loudmouthed, entitled brat that's a newly minted poster child for how to destroy your own movie's reputation one soundbite at a time.
What did you think was going to happen when you chose specifically this actress for the job?
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Well, I'm sorry they didn't line up to see your love quite clearly based on the box office numbers.
Strap in, because this meltdown is about to go nuclear. Before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe, because unlike Rachel Zegler, I know I'm nothing without your support. Now back to the tea. Now, let's move on to the main course, the self-proclaimed star of Disney's new Snow White, Rachel Zegler. She's not just offering mild criticism of the 1937 animated classic, she's trashing it like it's the worst piece of media ever conceived. She's gone on record calling it offensive, sexist, and irrelevant, all while stepping onto set every morning to collect a hefty paycheck from the very company that built its empire off that same movie.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
Weird. Okay, weird. Weird. What? I'm sorry. I mean, what?
Some might call it brave or unfiltered. I call it a baffling PR nightmare. Think about it. Snow White wasn't just a random film in Disney's back catalog. It was the foundation, the cornerstone that proved animated features could be blockbuster hits. Without it, who knows if Disney would even exist as we know it? Yet here comes Rachel Zegler, waltzing in with a loud mouth and an even bigger sense of self-righteousness. Basically saying, oh, that silly old cartoon, it's trash, and I'm here to rescue it. You can practically hear Walt Disney himself face-palming from beyond the grave. Fans, meanwhile, are left scratching their heads. It's one thing to offer a fresh perspective or note that elements from an older film might not translate seamlessly to modern times. It's another to wage a one-woman war on a beloved classic. The internet's verdict? Well, it's mixed, but leaning heavily toward exasperated. Some folks say, at least she's honest. Others are convinced she's either clueless or has a personal vendetta against dwarfs, apples, or possibly both. Regardless, Zegler's hot takes have become a never-ending gift for meme creators. Every interview she gives spawns a new wave of PR nightmares. Rachel versus Snow White. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the loudest and dumbest of them all? You get the idea. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Because Zegler's meltdown is just one symptom of Disney's broader identity crisis. Over the last decade, Disney has been on a rampage to retool its classics with modern messages. On paper, that might sound noble, bridging generational gaps, celebrating diversity, etc. But in practice, we're talking about rushed scripts, forced messaging, and the occasional bizarre plot twist that leaves longtime fans wondering, wait, who greenlit this?
More on Disney's nosedive. We keep talking about these woke projects of Disney and how recently, funnily enough, right on the back of the Trump administration coming to power, they've turfed a lot of their DEI projects and inserting particularly LGBTIQ indoctrination into cartoons and programs that are streamed into the little minds of millions around the globe. But their latest foray had already been created, that being the idiotically woke version of Snow White.
Let's not forget, Disney's track record includes some iconic stories that have endured for decades. But in their scramble to plaster woke disclaimers and new character arcs, they often bulldoze the original magic that made these tales special in the first place. Fans who grew up loving these movies feel alienated, while new audiences sense the pandering from a mile away. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, except the peg is your childhood nostalgia, and the hole is Disney's profit margin.
And once again, the public has said, we hate your woke bull crap.
And in swoops Family Guy to say what many folks have been thinking. All this forced modernization is less about genuine representation and more about corporate damage control. We see it in the marketing. Grand speeches about inclusivity overshadow the fact that the actual storytelling can feel half-baked. Then, along comes Rachel, I loathe the original but need the paycheck Zegler to top it all off. Is it any wonder fans are getting fatigued? Disney's rebrand strategy is about as subtle as a sledgehammer and about as fun as stepping on a Lego. Speaking of questionable changes, let's address the missing dwarfs. Disney decided that the iconic 7 dwarfs, arguably the heart and soul of the original film, were too dicey for modern audiences. Their solution? Replace them with magical creatures that look suspiciously like a random group of mythic oddballs you'd find rummaging around a discount fantasy movie set.
For remaking the movie, they just got rid of the dwarfs. Okay,
but what do they call them?
Why
now,
would they
too?
get rid of the dwarfs, though?
Magical creatures.
But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group. You just erased that whole image. The argument should have been from Peter Dinklage. There's power of being on TV. There's power of television. And to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there. If the story is offensive, change the story. Don't change the character.
Rumor has it that Disney was terrified of potential backlash about dwarfism representation. So they went the nuclear route. Just cut them all together. Because ignoring the actual conversation is definitely easier than hiring dwarfs or consulting with advocacy groups. Now we're left with an empty hole where the dwarfs' comedic banter and heartfelt camaraderie once lived. Fans are calling it a creative travesty. How can you have Snow White without her 7 whimsical buddies? It's like making Cinderella without a glass slipper, or Beauty and the Beast without the Beast. Meanwhile, the internet got busy conjuring up rumors. Maybe the dwarfs all walked off set after hearing Rachel Zegler's rants, joked one commentator. Another quipped, they're on strike until Disney stops disrespecting their legacy. All jokes aside, it points to the deeper issue. In trying so hard to avoid a scandal, Disney just created a bigger one. Let's circle back to Rachel Zegler's role in all this. If you thought she'd at least try to be diplomatic after the initial backlash, think again. Every time she opens her mouth, she doubles down on the negativity, going as far as claiming that the original Snow White is basically worthless or dangerous for modern audiences. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. It's almost comedic how determined she is to stand by her critiques. Meanwhile, fans are left to wonder if she's actually bothered to watch the original in its entirety or if she's just reading bullet points from a 1930s feminist critique. Sure, the original had its fair share of old-fashioned tropes. Most movies from that era did, but calling it completely irrelevant or insulting. That's a stretch even for the harshest critic, let alone the film's new lead actress. Then again, maybe the negativity is some twisted PR strategy. Stir up controversy, then watch people flock to see what all the fuss is about. If so, it's a gamble, because while controversies do generate buzz, they can also torch a movie's reputation beyond repair. Remember that all press is good press line? Disney might be testing the limits of that theory with Rachel Zegler's scorched earth approach. Now let's talk about the elephant in the Magic Kingdom, Disney's seeming indifference toward their own audience. Since when did it become acceptable to treat fans like clueless ATM machines? The House of Mouse once thrived because it knew how to enchant viewers of all ages. These days, it feels like they're more interested in corporate synergy, stock prices, and scoring progressive brownie points than, telling a good story.
So I wonder whether it took Disney to hit rock bottom to lose potentially $300 million for them to bring back what every parent across the world wants, which is child-friendly, Christian value, good entertainment, things for kids again. That's all everybody wants.
Fans online don't mince words. Twitter threads, Reddit rants, YouTube commentary. Every platform is brimming with frustration. People are fed up with paying premium prices for watered-down reboots that can't decide if they want to respect the source material or bury it. Stop lecturing us and just deliver a fun movie, seems to be the universal demand. But does Disney listen? Not when their boardrooms are filled with executives who can't see beyond quarterly earnings and brand expansions. The Family Guy dig at the plunging Disney stock roller coaster was savage because it felt so accurate. In a world where Disney used to be unstoppable, they're now facing real backlash for ignoring their core supporters. Sure, you'll always have some faithful fans who defend every decision, but more and more people are waking up to the idea that the modern Disney formula might be missing the magic that made it a household name. Combine Rachel Zegler's loudmouth tirades, Disney's clumsy woke marketing, and the inexplicable absence of the 7 dwarfs, and you've basically summoned the perfect storm of absurdity. The internet is ablaze with memes, comedic takes, and endless speculation. Even those who haven't watched the original Snow White in decades are suddenly invested in how badly Disney can mess this up. From a certain angle, it's almost impressive how effectively they've united so many people in disbelief. You've got old-school Disney purists, edgy internet trolls, casual viewers, and now Family Guy fans, all pointing at the same meltdown. It's like a big, dysfunctional family gathering around the holiday table, except the turkey is on fire and the relatives are filming it for YouTube and TikTok. Speaking of fires, it doesn't help that Disney keeps pouring gasoline on the flames by issuing bland corporate statements about upholding strong values and progressive storytelling. Meanwhile, Family Guy just sits in the corner, smugly sipping tea and telling jokes that ring painfully true. If this fiasco proves anything, it's that sometimes a cartoon known for fart jokes can be more honest about the state of pop culture than legacy news outlets. So here we stand, folks. Rachel Zegler, queen of contradictory rants, helms a Snow White remake that's missing dwarfs, heart, and a basic respect for the original. Disney, for its part, seems bent on ignoring the wave of criticism, forging ahead with a rebrand strategy that alienates more fans than it wins over. Family Guy has already shredded them, and the public's appetite for more comedic takedowns is far from satisfied. Will this reboot bomb spectacularly at the box office, prompting Disney to rethink its approach? Possibly. Will they even care if it does? That's less certain, given the Disney machine's knack for churning out merchandise, theme park tie-ins, and streaming exclusives to recoup losses. And Rachel Zegler, she's got enough loud opinions to fill a dozen more interviews, each more shocking than the last. If you're looking for more comedic carnage, questionable executive decisions, or savage animated parodies, smash that subscribe button. We've got you covered. Because this meltdown isn't ending anytime soon. There are rumors, half-truths, and behind-the-scenes chaos still waiting to burst onto the internet stage. If Disney truly wants a fairy tale ending, they'd better figure out how to respect their own legacy and the fans who love it. Otherwise, this is one story that might end with a downright disaster, not a happily ever after. Until next time, stay tuned, stay safe, and stay informed. Only on Tea Time with Tina.